Have you ever had a moment when you felt utterly disconnected from everyone? My mother, aged only 55, had passed away, and together we are stronger. Together we feel supported. None of us is truly alone in our struggles. Beneath the surface, we are all connected by shared feelings of loss, fear, love, and resilience.
Hello, I am Gulnara Omar and welcome to my weekly podcast. Please join me and my guests as we dive into wellness, empowerment psychology, health, beauty, and helpful tips on how to create positive change with greater energy and courage. So, let's get inspired to live healthier, more empowered, and fulfilling lives.
Have you ever had a moment when you felt utterly disconnected from everyone? Like you were all alone, isolated, lost in your own world, carrying a heavy weight that felt unbearable. You felt so alone, and you felt like no one understands what you're going through. But these moments of loneliness, they hold a hidden strength. If you decide to open up and share your stories, something unique happens. We'll realize that we are not alone, and we'll share experiences with other people, because other people go through similar struggles, similar sufferings like we do. Let me share with you my personal story so you can understand the meaning of shared human experience. 22 years ago, on a cold February morning, my two young sons and I landed in Toronto, Canada, just with 4 suitcases. I remember standing there in the airport, so full of hope, thinking, this is it. The best and the easiest part of my life is just to begin. Well, I was right about one thing. It would be the best part, but easy, not quite. Within just a few weeks after I arrived to Canada, I've spent most of my savings, and I was hopping from one temporary job to another just to keep food on the table for my boys and to pay the bills. Then one night, March 18th, just 1 month after I arrived to Canada, I received a devastating call from my homeland, Kazakhstan. This call shattered my world. I could hear my sister crying, and after she composed herself, she delivered this devastating news that my mother, aged only 55, had passed away. She was young, younger than I am today. My heart sank. For years, my mom suffered from constant pain from autoimmune and inflammatory disease. The last time I saw her, I gave her a warm hug to say goodbye and a promise that once I got settled and started making money, I would bring her to Canada, where she could receive treatment from the best doctors and finally find relief from her suffering. My boys woke up after hearing me cry, and we together mourned the early death of my mom. The next day, after sending my sons to school, I went to work. I was just a junior clerk working on organizing files. My boss, an older Chinese lady, saw me sniffing and wiping my tears and approached me, asking what was wrong. After finding out that I had lost my mother the day before, she told me to go home, but I refused. I didn't want to be alone at home. I felt better surrounded by people. I was also afraid that my grief would overpower and overwhelm me, that I wouldn't be able to support emotionally my children during these challenging times of immigration. I desperately needed to be strong. I needed to be a rock for my boys with my head held high. I remember how my boss, that sweet Chinese lady who brought me green tea with cookies, she told me her story and how she moved to Canada from Beijing 10 years ago when her parents died back home shortly after she immigrated. She also dreamed and planned to bring her mother to Toronto to enjoy their grandkids and their life in Canada, but her dream never came true. She shared similar stories with me. We were 2 women from 2 different countries with 2 different languages, but we shared the same human experiences. Since then, I've met hundreds of women who shared similar stories. I once spoke to my Canadian friend who hated evenings because every evening her heart would squeeze due to a fearful anticipation of her drunk father coming home and disrupting peace and a verbal or physical fight. I grew up with an alcoholic uncle, and I remember that feeling in my heart and stomach when the time came for his return home. My Canadian friend and I had similar uneasy pasts, and we shared similar human experiences. Since I started working as a psychotherapist, it became even more apparent how we are all connected beyond looks, race, gender, age, and other superficialities. We are all connected through similar unforgettable emotions we deeply feel while living through similar experiences. These women all look different, speak different languages, hold different occupations, possess different talents, and their ages differ from mine. They're all from various parts of the world. Their personal stories are different, but somewhat similar to mine. The emotions, the pain, the strength, the hope are the same. Since I started working as a psychotherapist, it became even more apparent how we are all connected beyond looks, race, gender, and other superficialities. We are all connected through similar, unforgettable emotions we deeply feel while living through similar experiences. And all these women I was telling you about, they speak different languages, they hold different occupations, they possess different talents, and their ages different from mine. They are all from various parts of the world. Their personal stories are different, but somewhat similar to mine. The emotions, the pain, the strength, the hope are the same. Through these experiences, I've learned one powerful truth. None of us is truly alone in our struggles. Beneath the surface, we are all connected by shared feelings of loss, fear, love, and resilience. And when we tap into that connection, we find the strength we never knew we had. So here's what I want you to remember, my friend. Embrace your story. And don't be afraid to share it. It's through these connections that we find the power to rise above our challenges together. And together we are stronger. Together we feel supported. And in the end, we always rise empowered by the unity of our experiences and the depth of our compassion. If you're enjoying my podcast, I'd love for you to subscribe and share it with the people in your life who could use some loving words of empowerment and a warm dose of inspiration. Thank you for being part of this journey with me. You're unique, and your life's bright side is almost here. I'm rooting for you. With love and gratitude, Gulnara Omar.